Okay, so Kalkadosh, we're going to start. We're going to first of all do a very, very quick revision on that which we learned last time, and then we're going to go ahead. If you remember, we spoke about different halachot of the bdikat chametz. So, or where should we clean? And as we already mentioned, what we're going to have to clean is many different areas where especially chametz is going to be found. Garbage cans, whether it's going to be in certain cupboards, even certain types of medicines, lunch boxes, school bags, right? Strollers, anything of the kids is automatic because you have to make sure that you're going to check. And you clean all these things before Pesach. Now, if you're going to sell, right, or you're going to put chametz on a cupboard, that cupboard you do not need to check. So, for example, let's say I'm going to put all my chametz in cupboard A. So I don't have to start checking that cupboard. That entire cupboard, I'm renting the space and everything in the cupboard to the goy. So I just write down chametz in big, and then I sell it to the goy. Now there's going to be, well, obviously there's chametz there. I purposely put it there, chametz, so I don't need to check it. I just put all the chametz in that cupboard, and then I don't need to do anything. It could be in the kitchen. It could be anywhere. It could be in the fridge. It could be anywhere where it's going to be. Some people say, so Rabbi, I'm going to sell my house. I'm going away. I'm going to sell my house. The reason why we don't lechatchila try to sell the house is because many times without you wanting to, you're obligated to come back to your house. That you just rented out your house to the goy. So unless you're going to start paying him rent, it's actually problematic to come back. You'd have to ask him for permission. And therefore, we never usually sell the house. We sell the areas where the chametz is. So even if I'm going away for Pesach and I'm not going to be there, what I do is I come and I designate whether it's part of the fridge or parts of the cupboards or parts of wherever it is. I'm going to put chametz and big. That's designated. That's the area where I give to the goy. All the rest of the house, there's no chametz. I make sure that I'm checking that there's no chametz, and then that's it. Now, what to do with koshering, right? So, you know what? Well, if we're already talking about cleaning, we'll speak about the bedikat chametz. Bedikat chametz is always done on the night of Kal Chamira, the night before Pesach, other than if you're traveling. If you're traveling, then you would do it the night before you travel, but it's always at night. But Yavad, if you forgot to do it during the night, you're going to do it during the day, but you always do it during the night. The night before you travel, that's when you're going to do it. And if you're not traveling, it's always the night of Kal Chamira. Kal Chamira is the terminology that we use that when we finish a bedikat chametz, we annul the chametz. So what we do is, the minhag is usually the women do it, or they give it to the children. Make sure, again, as we already mentioned, there's only 10 pieces, smaller than a kazait each one, which means that each one is a small little tiny piece of bread. You put it in paper towel or kitchen paper, whatever you want to call it. You wrap it around, you put a tape, and you put it around the house in different areas. I would even advise putting it in a small little tiny Ziploc as well, a snack Ziploc, and then you make sure that there's no crumbs going around, because for cleaning so much and then afterwards going to be crumbs, it doesn't make sense. So therefore, you make sure you're going to hide it in all different places, right? Write them down where you're hiding it, because you don't want to call the rabbi that I can't find one, right? Your husbands, they're very, very good searchers, but it depends what you're looking for, right? I think if you would have put a chocolate bar, you probably would have found it easier than the piece of bread. But again, what you do is you make sure that you're putting the 10 pieces, they're going around. Technically, you do not need to put the 10 pieces other than in one place. So for example, if you're going to check your other house, right, or an office or anywhere else, you're only putting it in your house. That's it. You don't need to do it, right? For example, let's say you're going away, and where you're going away, you also have to check chametz. So therefore, there you could do it there. You don't even have to do it in your house. In your house, you're just doing a check of whatever it is, and then you're going away, right? So then the night before, right, where you're going away, you would have to do b'dikat chametz. So for example, if you're going away and you're renting an apartment or you're renting a place, or they're giving you a room, so the night before, just make sure you're going to do b'dikat chametz in your room, where the room which is designated for you. Okay, that's just the common halachot. The what?
If I leave my home,
Yes,
I have to do b'dikat chametz.
for sure. The night before, plus where you're going to be. 100%. But where you're leaving your home, you're going to do it the night before you leave, and in the place where you're going to be that night. So, for example, if you're going to a hotel for Pesach, so the night before you have to do b'dikat chametz. If you did not do b'dikat chametz because you only arrived the same morning, so you would have to check that morning, right? And the night before, whoever was there would have to check if there was Jews or whatever it is that they were in charge of it. If not, then no. So you just check it before.
Piece of bread.
Well, it depends. If you're not going to do it anywhere else, then you do it with the pieces of bread. If not, then you do the pieces of bread the night before, wherever you are. Even in a hotel, so therefore there, usually you won't use the pieces of bread unless you're going to be there the night before. Then you use the 10 pieces of bread, and then you do the burning of the chametz the next day.
So let's say if you're going to be in two places on Chag, right? Do you do like 5 pieces in your house, 5
No.
pieces in the place you're
10
going?
pieces in one place. You don't have to go crazy. 10 pieces in one place. Where are you going to be the night before Pesach? Out of town. So wherever it is, that's where you're doing it. No.
But you would still search.
Yeah, you're obligated to search without a bracha the night before you're leaving. Okay? If you're leaving 30 days before, but again, that means you're not here now. So we don't have to speak about that case.
So let's see, I am leaving my home to go somewhere else. So the night that I am leaving, I have to put the 10 pieces or not? No.
If you want, you could put the 10 pieces there without any problem. And then wherever you are going to be, where are you going to be? In another house or in a hotel? House. So then do it in the second house then. Do it in the second house. Yeah.
The family member comes to the house.
When we continue with the koshering of Pesach, so we already did start mentioning, right? When we're koshering for Pesach, we mentioned that there's 3 different types of koshering. We mentioned Hagala, Irui Kli Rishon Libun Gamur. Hagala is in a liquid. So remember, many times, by the way, this is all year round, right? A woman comes, she used the wrong dishes, the wrong cutlery. She calls the rabbi, listen, I just put my meaty fork inside of them, in the milk and the lasagna, or the other way around. What do? You do Hagala. What is Hagala? You have a pot of water. The pot of water is bubbling up, and then you come and you throw it in. By the way, you should know, sometimes you could even do it with an urn. An urn, when it's bubbling up, it gets to 100 degrees. If it gets to 100 degrees, so you're also just, you throw it inside of the urn and then you take it out and you put it in cold water, and that is also Hagala. It's the same thing. The concept is that you're putting it in boiling hot water, you take it out, you put it in cold water, and that's it. You always wait 24 hours after, right, by doing this, the 24-hour period, and then that's it. That's called Hagala. The Irui Kli Rishon is you're pouring on top. So we mentioned, if you remember, on top of countertops or on top of where the stove was, you're going to come and you're going to pour on top of it. And the last one was libun. The libun is anything which was done in heat. So I just actually had this question. Somebody sent me a picture. I don't know what it's called. It's like a type of a food processor, but you could use it with liquids or without liquids. And they make in it, but they can make their meat. They can make all different things. So the rule is that we go after the majority of how do you call this? The majority of usage. So what does that mean, the majority of usage? The majority of usage means that we go by the majority of how you use the product. So for example, if I use a product majority with liquids, so I kosher it like a liquid form. If I use the majority with solids only, meaning without liquids, so it's with the solids. So in this case, since the majority was always used with liquids, so he could do hagalah to it. If it was going to be with the solids, he would have to actually take a blowtorch, and it's very, very difficult to start koshering certain products that way. Okay, so again, it all depends on the product. We did speak about the products last time, and we're going to continue today right now. Okay, so we're going to start now. We spoke about the different ways of koshering, and now we're going to go straight to the halachot of what we're talking about. We're going to start with countertops. How do you kosher a countertop? So the countertop is that you're not going to use it. You're going to clean it and not use it for 24 hours. Remember, when we mention not using it, it means in hot, right? For 24 hours. And then what you do is you pour boiling hot water on all the surfaces. Once you pour boiling hot water on all the surfaces, you just koshered, right, the countertop. Technically, you do not need to do anything afterwards. However, though, there was a minhag that some people, they come and they cover it as well. But for sure, the koshering is more important than the covering, right? So therefore, if a person has a choice whether to cover or to kosher, it is always better to kosher it than to cover it, okay? So the koshering, one more time, you clean it, don't use it for 24 hours, you pour from a kettle boiling hot water, okay? And then you're koshering it. Now, when you're pouring the water, remember that the first halakha, and always when you're doing anything to do with kashrut, is safety. So be very, very careful. Always put towels on the floor. You know that there's going to get everything all wet. And what you do is that you go from the back to the front. I'll explain why. If I'm going to come and I'm going to take, right, let's pretend that this is my urn or my kettle, right? And I'm going to come and I'm going to throw the water on top of the countertop. If I throw it like this, automatically by gravity, it's going to go here, and then it's going to go forward. So what happens is that the first glide hit here. All the rest is the water that is already here. That's not Irui Kli Rishon. So I have to do it backwards, which means I go to the back of the wall, I start pouring, and I go backwards. So therefore, when I'm going to pour in the back and go backwards, every spot got the hot water directly from the urn, and not from the glide that it went like this and it just, glided on. So very important. Okay, so that's very, very important. A lot of people don't realize that, but that's what you're supposed to do when you're doing Irui Klidushon. To do with the, until here we're clear or not?
Quartz.
You have what?
Countertop is
Yeah.
quartz.
Okay.
So it's the same way?
Yeah, all the same. All the countertops are the same. Yeah, all the countertops are the same. Fine. Yes. Granite, marble, stainless steel, Korean, plastic, wood, formica, it's all the same. Okay, an oven. We did start speaking about an oven last time. Remember, the oven, the best way is the self-clean. If you do a self-clean oven, that's it. You don't have to do anything else. Obviously, if the racks are inside, they should be, right? It will be perfect because that way it's koshering the racks as well. If not, so then you would have to kosher the racks. The koshering of the racks is either, again, with a fire, whether it's going to be a blowtorch, or you put it into the oven and you put it at the maximum for 2-3 hours. And then what happens is that, again, it's going to be, right? There's not going to be a problem. Okay. If you remember, right, there's going to be a difference between the 24-hour period or not in the oven, that if it's a self-clean, you don't need to wait the 24 hours. You could do self-clean right away, and then it becomes kosher. If it's not going to be a self-clean oven, you have to wait the 24 hours. Okay? So if it's not a self-clean oven, and then you're going to have to come and you're going to have to, right, wait for the 24-hour period. Okay? Fine.
When you do the self-cleaning,
Yes.
can you leave?
The exhaust hood or the extractor hood or the oven hood, whichever one you want to call it, on top of whether it's going to be the stove top or the range, that also has to be koshered. So the way that you kosher is you take them off, you clean them, you pour boiling hot water on them, and then it's going to become kosher as well. Okay? The faucets and the sink. So when you're going to come and you're going to kosher the sink, the way that you kosher the sink is, again, 24 hours, you didn't use it, pour boiling hot water all over the sink, and then you're going to pour it also on the faucet. But when you pour it on the faucet, what you do is you turn on the boiling hot water, let the boiling hot water come through the faucet, and then you pour the boiling hot water from the urn on top of the outside of the faucet as well. So it's becoming koshered from the outside and the inside. Okay, that's how you're doing it. There's no chametz inside the sink, but without you realizing it, many times you come and you have a boiling hot pasta, and you just took it and the steam comes up and it goes to the faucet. So what you have to do is you have to do the same way to get rid of it. So how do I do it? I've got the boiling hot water coming from the inside out, and then I've got the boiling hot water on the outside of the faucet, koshering the outside. So because of that, you kosher the faucets as well. Okay? Okay, fine. So that was the sink. The selling of the chametz. It's very important to remember that we tried to sell the chametz. Last time, if you remember, we mentioned what are you allowed to sell and not allowed to sell. The minhag of Yisrael became that you're allowed to sell any type of chametz whatsoever. There are a lot of people, though, that they try not to sell chametz gamur. Chametz gamur means we try not to sell real chametz. So there's a list that we're going to give out, and in the list, it tells you what is chametz gamur or not. So, for example, ketchup. Ketchup could have some type of a chametz inside of it, mayonnaise or something, and sometimes it could be even kasher Pessah, right? There's lists, there's many different things that you're right, but there's something which is called chametz gamur. So what is chametz gamur? You're going to have, whether it's going to be pretzels, pasta, all those things that, again, that they have chametz gamur. Bread, right? Obviously, if it's not, even gluten-free bread is, no, so flour is not chametz gamur. The reason why is why? Of course. Yeah, why? Because if you pay attention, right, flour, how do you make matzah? Matzah is regular. No. You cannot put yeast in matzah. So therefore, right, there's a whole list of what exactly is considered chametz gamur or not. And therefore, since there's a list, you follow the list. And in the list over there, basically, people try not to sell real chametz. So therefore, you'll sell anything which is not real chametz. So you could have all these types of cans of, tomato sauce and hearts of palm and all these other types of things, but it's not real chametz. So you could sell it. So what you do is you put it in the cupboard. And then what you're going to do is you're going to sell it to the goy just in case. Now, what you do is you put down the approximate value of how much is it worth, right? And then you come and you write down, okay, where's the chametz? So you're going to write down the chametz is in the kitchen cupboard. It's in now. Why do you have to write that? The reason why is because when the rabbis come and they sell the chametz, they are not only selling the chametz, they sell or they rent out the area where the chametz is. The reason why is because if the chametz is in my property, right? If I'm going to sell you this, but it stays here all the time, how does it become yours? Right? How does it become yours? I just sold you this bottle, right? But you didn't pick it up. You didn't do anything to it. So how is this yours? It's still mine. As long as you don't take it out, it's still mine. So therefore, what the rabbis do is when they sell the chametz to the goy, they rent out to the goy the places where the chametz is found as well. That's why when a person is coming and renting out a certain place, right, we make sure to tell them, okay, the chametz is in the kitchen cupboard. Why? Because wherever it's designated, it's written kitchen cupboard. You don't have to write down kitchen cupboard number 1, 7, 14, but wherever it's designated areas where you write chametz in there, and therefore if the goy wants to come to your house, he already knows wherever it's written chametz, it's his. Yeah? Yeah, you write chametz or you make a sign. Even if you make a sign that you know that this is the chametz. Yeah? Yeah, even a tape. They know any place where it's just tape, that means that there's chametz.
You have to throw out all the chametz gamur.
No, you could give it away as a present, right? And you could do whatever you want with it. Well, the chametz kamur, are you selling it? If you're selling it, it could be in your house. There's no problem.
So I could sell sourdough starter, right?
Yeah, you could sell all those things and it's yours.
That's so hard.
100%. Right? And then that's yours. Fine. Again, it's better not to sell real chametz, but mitzad halacha, you're allowed to. Right? A lot of people, they're mekel and selling real chametz, the majority of all of Klal Yisrael, to do with whiskey. Whiskey is chametz gamur. But since whiskey is very expensive, so therefore the majority of all Klal Yisrael always had a minhag of selling whiskey. Right? Why? Because if it's going to be a loaf of bread, it's $3, $4, it's fine. A whiskey could be a lot much more expensive. So therefore the minhag was always to be lenient to sell the whiskey. Right? And all those types of chametz. Okay? That was one. But again, this is all to do with the chametz gamur. To do with the selling of the chametz, you write down on the piece of paper where it's going to be, you designate it. And then what we do is we ask permission from the goy that just in case you forgot something in there, you might be able to go back in there. So for example, let's say I sold a storage closet. And then I just remembered on Pesach that I've got something in there, which is not chametz that I need. So technically we ask the goy that, we ask him for permission. Are we allowed to go in there to get whatever it is that we need that was not chametz? So, but try to be careful that you have in mind, what are you exactly selling and what are you giving? Okay?
So all the breads.
Yes. So we talked about bedikat chametz and the searching of the chametz. It is also better that we ask our husbands to be our shaliach, our messenger, to annul the chametz, unless we annul it ourselves as well, right? Because the reason why is because remember that on the night after bedikat chametz, we annul the chametz, and also in the morning. So we want to make sure that we don't own any chametz, right? So if a woman had any chametz in her belongings, she wants to annul it as well. If not, she'll tell her husband, you're my messenger, and you're annulling all the chametz. Okay, so therefore there's not going to be any chametz anymore. Okay?
Say annulled your chametz and then you find it in a bag after Pessah. What happens?
So they do mention Chadash and Yashan now because the Pesach, right, on the second day of Pesach is Sefirat HaOmer. Sefirat HaOmer, when they brought the Korban HaOmer, the Korban HaOmer was a sacrifice that they used to bring of barley on the second day of Pesach, that permitted everything beforehand to make it into Yashan. So that's why after Pesach, everybody's allowed to eat everything. Meaning we don't ask about Yashan until August or September. The reason why we don't ask until August or September is because anything that was done before Pesach is considered Yashan. And even if it was planted in in August of the year before, or whenever it was, but when it comes Pesach, it restarts the count. Everything starts at 0. So everything's Yashan. What happens now is that in Canada and the US, they have a second harvesting, which they do during the summer. And since it's during the summer, that becomes chadash. It becomes a new crop. So therefore, we're not allowed to eat that, right? Mina Torah, we're not allowed to eat that. Sfaradim are much more stringent than Ashkenazim. So therefore, since we're not allowed to eat that, right, what we do is that we're not allowed to eat it whatsoever. So we just basically refrain from it until the next Pesach. So there's codes, according to the codes. Meaning when we come and you take you have a best due date, So the best due date tells you when it was manufactured and when are you allowed to use it until. So according to them, they know that, for example, if I'm going to, we actually had this problem in the Bet Knesset a few days ago. Somebody brought us tortillas, but they were actually mezonot. Mezonot, how do you call them? Mezonot flour, let's say wraps, right? Flour wraps. So we had a few problems. Number one, pat Israel, and number two, yashan. So at the beginning, we sent a text, is it yashan or yashan? The guy said automatically yes. Whatever, we didn't believe. At the end, he said it was a mistake. He was supposed to send us corn. He sent us flour. Don't ask all the questions. But to make a long story short, it was already expired. So since it was already expired, we were laughing about it. And we said, okay, so we know that it's going to be yashan. You understand? Because, no, they ate it. But I'm just saying, though, but it was yashan because, meaning that it was already from probably the year before. Because when they come and if they're going to come and make you a package now of this flour dough, right, of this wraps, they're not going to write it expires in 1 month. They're going to tell you it expires in 1 year, right? Or it depends on the product. Some products is a year and a half. Some products are going to be 2 years. Depends on the product. So therefore, if it's already expired, that means that was already from the year before. So therefore, you don't have that problem. So again, we got out of it. Things can only become yashan if it passes Pesach. Meaning like this. Right now, there's going to be a bread that I made today, and I made it with non yashan flour. It's chadash. It's asur. I cannot eat it. After Pesach, if I sold it and now it's after Pesach, now I could eat it. Because remember, Pesach changes everything. Then now everything automatically is yashan.
Until when? Summer?
No, until the new harvest. Now, when they start harvesting, it takes time. So let's say they harvested. Which one? So if they harvest but even if they harvest the day after Pesach, it takes time. They have to harvest. They have to make it into wheat. They take it. So therefore, there's lists, and the lists tell you by the time it gets into the factories and by the time it gets into certain places, it's this date. So until this date, you're fine, because they know by the time it gets in, this is a date. Yeah, it's usually the end of August, September. Usually September. Sometimes it's October for oats or other things. It all depends what it is. But again, that's just the concept of yashan and chadash. Okay, but again, everything has to do with Pesach.
They're gonna keep yashan.
No, nothing to do with one another. Completely one another. Nothing to do. Pat Yisrael is derabanan. Yashan is doraita. Chalav Yisrael is going to be a din derabanan. Yashan is doraita. Yeah, 100%. Remind me, we have a video from Rabbi Mansour that he spoke here in the Bet Knesset that he said eating chadash is like eating pig. Yeah. No, again, this is Sfaradim for Sfaradim. Fine. Yeah, but fine. But anyway, but it's again, this is that's the halachot. Again, what you could try. You try the best that you can, obviously.
When these things.
So the truth is there's an app now. There's an app that you come and you scan the product and you could see if it's yashan or chadash. And there's a lot of products that they're all year round.
Like I didn't pull.
Right? No, but you should know there's a lot of the majority of the things you're able to find. For example, pasta. If you get an Italian pasta that's made in Italy, not Italian pasta that's made in the US, an Italian pasta which is made in Italy, it's automatically yashan. Now, why? Because in Italy and in Europe, they don't have yashan because they don't have the summer crop. They only have a winter crop. So since they don't have the summer crop, everything's yashan. So that's why in Europe, they don't have these things. They don't have the problem. So again, many times you'll check, or there's certain ashkachot that you know that no matter what, it's always yashan. So badatz, edah charedit, it's always yashan, so you don't even have to ask. Other times you check and you're able to see right away. The flour you buy that's yashan all year round. So for example, all-purpose flour of Publix that, it's always yashan. The all-purpose flour of KC, but I'll explain afterwards. But there's a whole thing that it's always yashan. So if it's always yashan, there's no problem. Fine. Okay, b'dikat chametz, we spoke about the searching of the chametz. We spoke about now burning of the chametz. So now, obviously, you could send your husband also to burn the chametz for you, right? And what you do is, we already mentioned last time, when you're going to burn the chametz, make sure that you take it out from the foil, because if not, it's not going to get burnt, and you burn it. The minhag is to take also the lulav, the wicks of the chanukiah, and again, the chametz, the 10 pieces that you're going to burn. If you do not have the 10 pieces, or you don't have anything, for example, you're going to a hotel, you don't have 10 pieces now, you don't have nothing. Buy a piece of chametz and throw it in. You just did a mitzvah doraita, right? You just did a mitzvah. Chaval, you're not going to do a mitzvah. So therefore, make sure that you're going to get chametz in order to burn it beforehand. Okay, this year we have Eruv Tavshilin. Remember that Pesach comes out on Wednesday night, so it's going to be basically Thursday, Friday, and Shabbat straight. So we always do Eruv Tavshilin. Eruv Tavshilin is you're going to take the box of matzah, you're going to take a hard-boiled egg, you're going to say a special prayer, and with that saying a special prayer, you're basically making that you're able to come and to cook and to prepare from Yom Tov to Shabbat. Make sure you do not eat the eruv. If you eat the eruv, right, in Hebrew they say achalta ota, right? You ate it, but it means
Shabbat.
yes, the minhag is to eat it on Shabbat, because you already started doing a mitzvah with it, so do another mitzvah with it. But you're not supposed to eat it on Friday, because if you eat it on Friday, then you can't prepare anymore for Shabbat, right? And even if you're not going to prepare because you have everything cooked, even for lighting candles, or some opinions that say that you have to do eruv tavshilin just for even lighting the candles of Shabbat. So therefore, make sure that you do the eruv tavshilin before Shabbat. Again, you're going to take the matzah, the hard-boiled egg, and then you're going to come and you're going to do eruv tavshilin. That is going to be done on the Wednesday, right, which is going to be right before Pesach. Okay, fine. That was going to be eruv tavshilin. Halakan nerot. We all know that we should always light a type of a yortzeit candle or a 2 or 3 day candle. The reason why is because remember that on Yom Tov, you're not allowed to light the new fire. You're only allowed to light from an existing fire. So therefore, you have the 2-3 day candle, and you're going to have it. Okay? Preparing for the seder. Obviously, the seder table should be set before Pesach. So before Pesach, right before the night, it should be set. Remember, the night of Pesach is an exciting night. There's an obligation for women to say full Hallel as well, not only for men. So pay attention that women should say full Hallel with the bracha. They would say it. So this is when the only time of the year when women say full Hallel with the bracha, that is the night of Pesach. Men also say it in the night of Pesach. We do say it without a bracha during the Haggadah, but we split it up, right? I don't know if you remember, we split up the first part of the Hallel and the second part of the Hallel. We split it up, but women are obligated in Hallel on the night of Pesach. Women are also obligated in all the mitzvot of Pesach as well. So for example, the 4 cups of wine, women are obligated, right? The matzah, women are obligated. The reason why is because we always believe in equality, and therefore women are always equal to men, right? And therefore what happens is that the night, since the women were part of the miracle, so therefore the women are obligated in all the mitzvot of Pesach just like men. Just like Megillat Esther, anything which was the Rabbanan, that they were part of the miracle, Purim, Chanukah, and the Pesach, so women are also obligated just like men. So we have to have 4 cups of wine, so to the women. The only difference is going to be is that number one, women lechatchila could have grape juice without any questions asked. It's better though to have not mevushal grape juice. The reason why is because according to the Rambam and others, not mevushal is the highest level, because that's the only one that could go on a korban, on a sacrifice. So therefore it's better to get not mevushal, but you should get grape juice. And women should try to make sure that they're having the minimum requirements possible. The reason why is because what happens is some people, they come and they think, how am I going to drink this kiddush cup? Yeah, they have a Eliyahu Navi Kos kiddush cup, and then they have to drink 4 cups of that. It's too much. So what you do is, right, we know what the minimum is. The minimum is 86 milliliters, 86 cc, which is around 3 fluid ounces. So what you do is take a cup, which is a nice cup. You could get them on Amazon or anywhere you want, right? And what it is you already know that it's 3 fluid ounces, or you get, let's say 3.5, 3.2. You drink the majority of that cup and you're fine. You have to do that 4 times. That's it. It's not a lot. You think about it. This is, I think, a 10-ounce cup, right? 10 ounces. If I just told you 3 ounces, so we're talking about the entire night of Pesach, I have to drink, let's say, this amount. And of grape juice, what's the big deal? And it's not at once. You're drinking, a little bit, and then, the first cup, and then an hour and a half later, 2 hours later, a second cup, and then, it's nothing. That's 3 ounces. That's all that it is. So try to get of grape juice, right? Not mevushal is the best, right? If not, then even mevushal grape juice, that's fine. And what you do is you have to drink the 4 cups, right? So that's going to be number 1, the 4 cups. So one more time, women are obligated in the 4 cups of wine to drink it in the proper place. They're going to drink, right, the 3 ounces. That's all that they have to drink. They're going to drink that every single time, and that's it. Okay?
Does it red or white?
It is always better red. Always better, especially for the night of Pesach, it's better red. Right? But again, if you don't have, you don't have. So then it's white. Wine is also better not mevushal. On the night of Pesach, the order is always going to be not mevushal wine and red, then not mevushal white, then it goes, meaning the red is always the highest before the white, then it goes mevushal. So you've got mevushal red, mevushal white, and then it comes grape juice. women automatically go to that category of grape juice, and lechatchila you could have grape juice.
Better wine than non-chocolate grape juice.
No, well, for women, no. Women, it's always better the grape juice and always better non-mevushal grape juice. The non-mevushal grape juice, by the way, are the ones which are the glass bottles. The glass bottle is not mevushal, right? But just be careful, though, that you don't want to have any goyim on the table or anything else, right? Because, or cleaners or whatever it is. But I'm saying, but other than that, right, you don't have a problem as long as it's always closed. Okay? So that's to do with the grape juice or the 4 cups of wine. Another one is now going to be the matzah. So women are obligated in matzah, just like men. But again, here, the women could do the ikar adin, which is the main halakha. They don't have to do all the stringencies. So for example, how many kazetim do you have to eat on the night of Pesach? The minimum is 3, right? 3 kazaits. 1 kazait, a kazait, by the way, is 28 grams. So when we're talking about how much matzah do you have to eat, if it's going to be, let's say, the machine matzah, if it's machine, I think it's 3/4 to almost 1 full. I think the machine matzah, I think it's 30 grams. So it's a little bit less than that. If it's going to be the hand matzah, the big, huge, round one, it's either a half or of shmura, right? It's either, you have to have shmura matzah on the night of Pesach, right? According to everybody, right? You have to have shmura matzah on the night of Pesach. So therefore, you have 3 kazatim. 1 kazait is during a motzi matzah. So when they do a motzi, everyone eats a kazait. So you have 1 kazait. The next one is going to be for the sandwich. When they do the sandwich, you also have to have 1 kazait. And the last one is going to be for the fikomen. So again, women are obligated in each one. But again, 3. Men are usually, they try to do 4 or 5. The women do 3. Okay, 3. What? There's only 1 sandwich. The first time is hamotzi. Which one? Women are obligated not to, so why not?
To break their own.
No. What happens is that he gives a little tiny piece to everybody, and then you take your own matzah and you eat.
Separately.
Yeah, separately. The same thing with hamotzi matzah. Hamotzi matzah, he only has 1 matzah in front of him. He's got 2 matzot in front of him, correct? And he breaks and he has to eat from each one of the kazait. He doesn't have there in order to give to everybody around. So he digs a little tiny piece to everybody, but then everybody else is eating their own matzah.
Consider the afikomen.
Yeah, and that would be the afikomen as well. Okay, so one more time, everybody at the beginning of the seder, by the way, it's best always to do it, that you prepare the bags beforehand. Because if you prepare the bags beforehand, so therefore you already know how much it is, the maximum. Somebody once told me, Rabbi, you don't know how much matzah I ate. So I said, why? He goes, no, but I just ate, I don't know how many like round matzahs. I said, okay, so you had 20 kazatim. Like, you don't need to. I'm saying you don't have to bloat yourself, even though there's a mitzvah of eating matzah more than anything else. I weigh it before Pesach, but the halacha is you're allowed to weigh it even on Pesach with a mechanical scale. We buy the mechanical scales that they used to use in the post office, which is basically that you use it like this and you pick it up and they put a letter on it, and that's how they used to weigh it. So that's how they weigh it. What we do is as follows. The way that we do is we take on Erev Pesach, we take all the broken matzot that they're broken already, and we come and we put it inside of a Ziploc. And we weigh we already find out how much is the Ziploc before, and we weigh it inside the Ziploc. And if the hand matzah, right, because it's again, it's shmura hand matzah, when it's 20 grams, you're okay. So therefore, if you have 3 bags of 20 grams, you already know from before Pesach, I've got the first night, I've got 20 grams. The second night, I've got my 20 grams, and that's it. Not the machine, the hand one. The hand one is 20 grams of matzah. 20 grams of matzah. There are opinions that say 28, but I'm going to be lenient on you. I'm going to tell you 20. So 20 grams, right? For men also. There's the Alkut Yosef that he's machmin that you always need 28. But so for the women, it's 3 times 20, 60 grams. It's not a lot. I'm telling you, it's not a lot. And again, you're not eating it in one shot. I was going to tell you, eat it right now in 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 60 grams of matzah, that's a lot. But if I'm going to tell you, listen, hamotzi matzah, you're going to eat 20 grams of matzah. Okay, fine, no big deal, right? The sandwich, it's also not a big deal. You understand? It's not but when it comes to the fikomen, that's already a little bit more heavy, right? But usually, right, again, 20, 20, and 20, and you already have a weight. So you know that I've got 20 grams of matzah.
You know how big the shmura matzah is?
That's what I'm saying. It all depends. There's ones which are super thin, ones which are thicker. You have the pitot nowadays. It all depends what you're using. So some people use pita, right? Yeah, they have a sarcent. Yes, the Yemenite. Yes. Yeah. No, we don't have that custom. We don't have that custom, but some people have that custom. A lot of chalabim and things that they have that custom. So for them, one, it's a small pita. That's it. And then they have, they have their kazait. They don't have the problem.
With so many grams, and there's 5 pieces in the box.
If they were all identical, then you're right. But the problem is hand matzah are never identical. Machine are identical, right? Because it's a machine, right? Human beings are not a machine. So it's never identical. Some are smaller, bigger. So you always just pay attention. You just weigh it beforehand. You weigh it. You can even weigh it on Pesach. Again, on this mechanical scale, you put it on. I see how much it is. I break, and that's it. By the way, the same halacha would apply to the maror, right? The same halacha is to the maror. Right? Which means that when you're going to come and take the maror, you weigh it. When you have 28 grams, there it's 28 grams of the lettuce. Our minhag is to use the lettuce. So you come and you take it, and then that's it. And then you use it with the charoset. You put the charoset on top of it, and you eat it. Right? The maror always needs 28 grams. So you need the 28 grams when you're having maror, and then when in the sandwich, again, another 28 grams. Inside 28 of the lettuce. Which, by the way, you should know, it's not a lot either. Many times when you have the lettuce with the stalk, like I'm saying, not just a leaf, with the stalk, it's not a lot. It's not a lot. Check. You'll check. You'll be surprised. It's not a lot. Yeah, that's 28 grams. The lettuce is 28.
Yeah, can you post
Yeah,
it?
I'm going to post the link of the where to buy. I think it's on Amazon where you could buy the
Scale.
scale.
Here.
Yes, of course. Yes, of course. That's what I have. What I do is that what we do is that before Pesach, we have a box, right? We have a box of the matzot that we put inside that box all the bags. So for example, every single kazait is 20 grams. So we have all the 20-gram bags. We write 20 on the Ziploc, and we know every bag here is 20 grams. So we know that every single one is going to be 20 grams. And then we know, okay, fine. So for example, the women, every single night, they need 20 grams. So if there's 5 women, so 5 times 3 is 15. So it's going to be men. So technically, lechatchila, they should have 4 or 5, right? They should hear the shurim then for the men. And therefore, they're going to need more. Okay, until here we're clear on the night of Pesach? Fine. Yeah? So I'll explain. I'll explain why. First of all, motzi matzah. For motzi matzah, you have 3 matzot in front of you, right? You've got the top one, the middle one, which is broken, and the bottom one. The bottom one is going to be the fikomen. So you drop it. You do the Baruch Atah Motzi Lechem Min Haaretz, you drop the bottom one. Why do you have the 3 of them there? Because you always need lechem mishneh. You need 2 loaves which are full. The middle one you broke. Since you broke the middle one for the fikomen, and the bottom one is going to be used for the sandwich, so therefore you don't have a full loaf, a full matzah. So you have all 3 of them in your hand. You make a Motzi Lechem Min Haaretz, you drop the bottom one. And now you're going to make the bracha of ala chilat matzah. The question is, ala chilat matzah is on which matzah? The top one or the middle one that you broke? We don't know. There's a machloket in the Rishonim. Since there's a machloket in the Rishonim, the one that's doing the motzi has to have a kazait from both. So automatically, that person that's doing a motzi has to have an extra kazait, one extra kazait, because he has to have the kazait from the middle one. You're right. That one you could only weigh with the mechanical scale, right? And but again, usually when you break it, you already know you give a good half or whatever it is that you come in. So you already know you probably have to eat that entire piece, right? And then the top part, you're gonna have to eat the half of it or whatever it is. So therefore, that's why automatically you already have one extra one for the men. Usually the man is the only one that's doing the motzi. So very good. So the question is it going to be only for that man or for everybody else? A lot of opinions hold only that man. So you're right, the balabait or the one that's doing a motzi, he has to have 4. There's going to be another opinion, a fikomen. The fikomen, some people say that you have to have 2. For women, for sure, you could have 1 kazait. Some people say 2. So that's why for men, they have an extra 1. That's why for men, many times they'll have 4 or 5, right? But for the women, all you have to have is 3, okay? Another halacha, which is very important for women is, women are obligated also in the Haggadah, not only just in the cups of wine or in the matzah, which means that women have to come and they have to read the entire Haggadah. So you come and you're reading the Haggadah as well. It could be in any language that you want, but women are also obligated in the Haggadah. They're not obligated to sing all the songs at the end, right? Of, like all the Chaggadiyas and all that's already needed. But which one? That's the fun part. But again, that they're not obligated to do, but don't make that the ikar, meaning that the main thing is that they have to realize that that's when they're going to they have to do the entire mitzvah of Magid. So they're reading along with everybody else, right? It's their mitzvah as well. Okay?
In the store, there was a box and it was broken matzah. We can buy that and use that for the people?
For sure, why not?
Okay.
It's already broken. If it's already broken, I'm saying, that's what you're going to use for the bags. Yeah, no problem. 100%. Yeah, it has to be shmura. Remember, the night of Pesach has to be shmura matzah. Has to be shmura matzah. Okay? Other than that, right, with the minhag is that the urchatz, usually we bring it to the parents of the house to do the netilat yadayim. That's going to be for the netilat yadayim, so when they're going to do it on the night. The other main halacha is going to do when to finish. So obviously, lichat techila, you should finish the entire Haggadah shel Pesach before Chatzot. So this year, I don't remember what time it is exactly. I think it's 1:21. Let me just check over here. 1:24. So 1:24, which means that you should finish the entire Haggadah, including the Hallel. Because also during the time of the Bet HaMikdash, they used to finish the Hallel and used to finish everything. So it's not only just Afikomen, it's also the Hallel. So they would finish it before 1:24. And once they finish it, so then that's it. So then they could sing the Shira Shirim afterwards or do whatever it is afterwards. But until then, right, that's what they're going to try to finish it. And the second night is the exact same as the first night. Meaning some people think that the second night, it's a little bit more easy. It's the exact same. So whatever you do the first night, you're going to do the second night. Some places they actually had a minhag of translating the second night. So it was actually even later, right, than the first night. But again, it all depends on the different customs. Okay, so that was to do with the halachot of the mitzvot of the night of Pesach.